Hey, Moose Country! Welcome to another episode of Let Us Be Heard.
What's up, Moose fam? Calling back here for another episode of Let Us Be Heard. Joined, of course, by my friend and co-host, Dylan Gorman. I do want to say, however, that this is our 33rd episode of this segment on this channel. And, the love and support that we've received in the barn and online for our content has been absolutely mind-blowing. It makes it all worth it. It's good to know that you guys are getting as much out of the content we create as us ourselves. I will say, however, that only 30% of the people who watch our videos are subscribed. So if you're one of those ones who aren't subscribed, please smash that subscribe button. Hit the bell icon so you're always notified when there's a new amazing interview for you guys to watch. Anyways, let's get down to this interview. Hey, Dylan, how you doing?
Not too bad. And yourself?
Not too bad. Seems like I just seen you last night for one of these.
Yeah, you're looking a little different there. I think it looks like you slimmed up a little bit.
Well, I picked the fattest body I could. My goatee's not as long though. I trimmed it.
No, that's good.
Yeah. So we got another guest coming on the show, bud.
We do, and we decided to do the intro like this because this is the type of stuff that you see on social media, on like TikTok and Snapchat and Instagram. People using weird filters and stuff like this, which leads indirectly to who our guest is.
That's right. A good segue, man. This gentleman, he takes care of all the social medias, all the stuff like that. He handles all the interviews and press releases and such for the team. He's been absolutely incredible to us since we started our journey with the YouTubes. Yeah, and I'm just
not just one YouTube, but the YouTubes.
the YouTubes. I'm honored to have him on. He's a great guy. He's got a lot of friends with the Mooseheads too, both past and present. And he just really knows what he's doing. He's upped his game big time this year, social media wise.
He really has, and it's actually really refreshing to see. I know he does a lot of it himself. So as busy as he is, the fact that he's able to get all of this stuff out that he is just wicked.
Awesome. So without further ado, please welcome Scott MacIntosh. Scott MacIntosh, how you doing, bud?
Hey, very good. Thanks for having me.
No, listen, man, I've been telling our supporters, from the get-go that you've been a great supporter of us, and to have you on the show, it's really humbling, and I really appreciate you coming on today and making the time for us.
Hey, anytime. It's I think you guys are doing a wonderful job, and it's nice to see the support and the passion from the fan base, and well, let your voices be heard, which you've been doing quite nicely.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
So, how did you become a part of the organization? Let's just start with that. The organization. Sorry.
Well, I had worked locally as a sports director at News 95.7 radio for 8 years. I had been in radio overall for about 12 years. Rogers had some nice massive cutbacks one day, and so I found myself out of a job after all of that time, and had built a great relationship here with Brian Urquhart, our president, over my years covering the team on radio, and of course News 95.7 was the voice of the Mooseheads at that point as well. So I was out of a job for a while, collecting severance. They actually needed a DJ for the second half of the season in 2013-14. I hopped on there just to do something to get out of the house, and did that for the second half of that year. We lost to Val-d'Or in the playoffs that year, and from there, I guess I got a call about a week after that season. Brian and Travis wanted to meet up and discuss things, and said that they had come up with a position for media relations that they thought I'd be a perfect fit for. They kind of made the position with me in mind, and after years of having Nathan McKinnon here, and NBC Sports was here at one point, and they said they kind of felt that that was an area that the team was lacking. There wasn't really anyone there to handle players and handle those responsibilities, and also with social media growing at the rate that it was growing at the time, they knew that it was something I'd be capable of. So kind of handed me the position on a platter if I wanted it, and had a choice to make at the time because I was also in the running to become the sports writer for the Metro newspaper at that time, with formerly the Daily News. I've been kind of doing that part time while collecting the severance from my old job as well. And so I had a choice to make. I was down to the final two in that job and then this job, and kind of slept on it for a night and thought, I'd really like to be part of the Mooseheads organization and be on this side of the media for a change, because you could see the way that, after the cutbacks that I was a part of and knowing a radio, TV, newspaper were kind of going at that time, that I think I made the right choice, and sure enough, I did.
Oh, 1,000,000% you made the right choice. I mean, I haven't even seen one of those Metro papers in, I don't even know how long. I don't even know if they're still in business.
They've been gone.
Yeah. Yeah, no, smart decision, man. 100%.
No, it was not an easy one for sure, because it was a little scary getting into something that, I don't have a public relations background, but being in the media business for as long as I was before this, I certainly crossed paths with many, dealt with many, and just used my broadcasting background to my advantage with this position, and learned the rest along the way.
Speaking of which, can you let everybody know your actual title with the Herd?
It's the manager of media relations and communications. So it's a complicated one. Sometimes I say communications manager, sometimes I say media guy, whatever you want to call me.
It's generally heard around the building.
Yeah, and we all wear
the media guy.
The media guy.
We all wear many hats with the Mooseheads as well, because we're not a large staff, bigger than some junior teams for sure, because we're fortunate to be in the market that we're in. But we all kind of have it's a communal effort in terms of putting our heads together for ideas and helping each other out with a lot of things. So we all have titles, but we all help each other in all of our roles.
Yeah, so this is your 10th season with the team, like being a part of them. With the advancements in technology and social media, how has your job changed over the decade?
Yeah, it's certainly changed in many ways. When I first started, I was, really killing myself to write these really long articles on the website and trying to drive people there, but people don't really read that much anymore, and I could spend hours and hours doing something, and for very little return. So it's more content based now, because that's what people want to see. They want to see players' faces. They want to just more funny, entertaining things. In terms of social media, the landscape has changed drastically as well. You may remember teams like live tweeting games of like, so and so shoots. There's a penalty. Just useless information, really. So you want to be more impactful, fewer tweets and posts on other, on Facebook, and fewer in between, I guess, but more impactful with each one. I was one of the first in our league, I think, to post videos of goals on our social media, and that was me watching a webcast or bringing up the webcast and screen recording, and then converting to an MP4 and then posting. It was a whole process. But now our league and the CHL as a whole has a great back end website that we all have access to. They employ people to actually cut the goals. And so I can just go on, and 5 to 10 minutes typically after we score, there's something there with our goal. I just have to trim it up a little bit before posting on our Instagram, Facebook stories, and on Twitter, or X, whatever you want to call it. And then they also produce the highlight package at the end of the night, which typically can be a little late. I don't post until the next day, because it's normally between midnight and 1 a.m. after our game, and I like to be in bed by that time. So.
Yeah, it's pointless anyway. You're not getting any viewers that time of night.
Exactly.
We actually had a chat with the Wildcats podcast guys, and they gave a big compliment to you and anybody who's working with you when it comes to the content that you guys put out, especially in the building with like the Ask a Moose and the get to know them, this or that, like that type of stuff. They absolutely love it. So it's definitely stuff that people are interested in.
I appreciate that, and that's one thing. That's our goal here is to make our in-game as entertaining and fun for people in the stands as possible. Going to a Mooseheads game should be fun, whether we're winning 9-1 or losing 9-1.
Yeah, it should be an
And
experience.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's what it is. It's a social event, and you want people to be sent home happy, thinking that was a lot of fun with my kids. It doesn't matter that the team didn't win or things didn't go our way that way. So, and I know in a lot of other rinks, it's not necessarily the case. It can be a lot of advertisements on the
Yeah,
screen
that was
during
an
those
issue.
breaks. We Ryan McDonald's a huge part of that. Brian Urquhart as well. Everybody putting thought into where each of our breaks, the TV timeouts that are 45 seconds long, twice per period. We've got 6 per game. What are we going to do during that time frame to keep fans entertained? And it's something that all summer that's what we plan for.
Now, have you always been, a hockey fan or a Moosehead fan prior to, joining the organization?
Definitely, I've been a sports nut since I was a kid. Baseball has actually always been my game. I was a ball player in hand sport growing up in the Valley. Won a couple of provincial titles there, so that was
Hey.
my thing, and still is. I'm a massive Blue Jays fan, and love baseball, but hockey's right there. Like I love pretty much all sports. Big football guy as well, and basketball. Played a lot of basketball growing up in the Valley too. So, but no, I always followed the Mooseheads. I was junior high when the team was incorporated, and kind of followed them from afar. And I didn't get down to the city too often with my folks to see games until I moved here to Halifax when I was 19 to go to broadcasting media school, and got to be here volunteering with some other people to help out during the Memorial Cup in 2000, and was really into the team by that point. And Alex J. Walling was my instructor at the time, so he always had a hand in the local media business and carted me around to different places. I actually did play-by-play for his internet radio station for the St. Mary's Huskies football team when I was 20 or 19, I guess 19 or 20, and but yeah, always loved the Mooseheads. Started really going to games in the early 2000s a lot, and then got my sports directing job in 2005, and went to a lot of games from there on out, of course.
Yeah, you'd have to just study at that point. It's for work, but I mean, what better job? What better job than to go watch sports and get paid for it? Like, that's incredible.
I know that was my thinking. I think back in junior high when I realized that not going to be an athlete, so how can I be around sports? And so it kind of worked out. I started in music radio. I worked at an oldie station, a country station,
Hey.
top 40 station. I read a lot of news as well, but worked my way there. But so by the age of 25, I had the sports directing job, and that was exactly what I wanted to do. Kind of thought I would want to be in TV initially, but it was radio that got me where I wanted to be.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So, there's many people around the organization that do stuff on social media or on the radio and stuff, like Mavs and Gareth, for instance, when Eastlink's there. Do you guys like bounce ideas off one another, and how much do you lean on like other staff members, or do you even chat with other media directors when it comes to your job? The reason we ask this is because we had John Siteman on. He says he talks to other DJs to try to get a feel of like what they're playing and what seems to be hot in their area. So is that something that you do as well?
Definitely. I mean, Gareth, or G, as we like to call him, we're in constant contact all the time. He's a good friend, so we're even when I'm home watching a webcast and he's on the road, we're texting back and forth if he saw an injury that I couldn't see because you're, depending on what the cameras show you. We talk about things like that all the time to kind of get the best message out there for fans. but leading up to games, him and I certainly do talk about different topics, things like that. Mavs here and there, but not so much since Eastlink is their own thing. They're not a Mooseheads thing per se. And but yeah, we have a great community of fellow communications managers around the league. A lot have changed over the years as well. A lot of turnover in many markets, but still keep in contact, even with some who aren't in it anymore. And I think everybody in their own right does a great job around the league. Talked to Patty McNeil a lot with Cape Breton Eagles. And of course, Brad Chandler is there now doing, who's really given their social media a boost since he's joined. Just a young guy out of broadcasting school as well that I think he was an intern with Eastlink last year, and now here he is as the communications manager with the Eagles and doing a fine job. So shout out to them. Moncton, they've had some turnover in recent years. Courtney used to be there for quite some time, and her and I worked pretty hand in hand. Moncton and Halifax typically, as much as we don't like each other on the ice, off the ice, we've been pretty tight in terms of organizations over the years and come up with a lot of collective ideas together. Ryan Jenner used to be the president there, and him and Brian had a lot of meetings together. They would chat back and forth on how we can, up the rivalry and bring fans the best content as well. So it's really a family, especially the maritime teams, who we see most often and try to have discussions about how we can make each other better.
It's funny you say that too, because you said how the presidents talk to each other and see how we can up the rivalry and such. It's just like promoting a fight, you know what I mean? Like, you want to get the fans involved, you want to make it look like there's this big rivalry, and there is. We speak with the Moosehead or with the Moncton guys a lot, and it's actually my favorite place to go watch a hockey game other than the Scotiabank Center, and it's because of that rivalry, and it's because of what goes on behind the scenes and setting that the premise for the game. I absolutely love that portion of the hockey.
Yeah, I do too. I think, and that's a great rink as well to go watch games. And I say this, the business staffs get along, but players and hockey staff, they probably have the rivalry that we don't from a business standpoint.
So you mentioned that there's a new person up in Cape Breton there, and we hear it quite a bit from our fans that their social media has really stepped it up lately. So credit to him. But
yes,
a lot of the time there, like, people are saying, how can we give suggestions on what we want to see? Because they're seeing the Eagles do little skits when they're doing promotions and stuff. Is there a way that fans could potentially pitch ideas? Not in saying that they'll be done, but if they want to, could we do something similar to this and then try to get them up there?
Yeah, we take everything into consideration for sure, and we do. There's always a priority list of things to get done, and what we and how we can go about things. But that's not to say we wouldn't take anything into consideration. So typically the best way, like direct messages on social medias, that would probably be the most appropriate way to go about it. I monitor all of those. And it can get a little overwhelming at times with the amount that we get, but especially on a game night where you're trying to watch the game and figure out what's going on, and you're like, oh man, I've got 17 messages on this. I better check them out during the intermission. But no, I would say that would be the best way, and to share the example that they found as well if they've seen something, and yeah, we do kind of copy other ideas that we see some places, try to be original with ideas, would hopefully not want to directly rip off someone from a team that's around here per se either, because it could get a little redundant when you're seeing the same things from the same teams that we play against. But direct message on any of our social media accounts is the best way to get those ideas across, I would think.
Yeah, I have no problem. I message Ryan with ideas all the time, and I think I emailed you last night an idea for a short, and I thanks, man. I'm never told, stay out of our business, we'll do our job. You know what I mean? You guys are very welcoming to the fans and what they want for content.
Hey, you guys are the ones that are kind of absorbing all that content and the ones giving us views and likes. And so, of course, we want to do what makes fans happy, because that's in the end why we're all here.
Well, you guys are very much doing that with, especially this year, the whole like LFG, LFD stuff. Last year with these and everything, like you guys are just, there's always fans in the videos and everything like that. You're constantly posting stuff that the fans have done to make us feel appreciated on social media, at the game. So from that aspect, I want to say thank you on that.
Yeah, 100%. And staying on that topic, I want to thank. Oh, I just went invisible there for a second. I want to thank you for something. Now, the quirky little chips at stupid comments on Facebook. I don't know who's doing that, but I absolutely love it. Stay tuned for more hot takes from so and so. Love it, man.
I try not to be too sarcastic, but there's times where it's like, okay, we get it. Yeah, but at the same time, I have to obviously stay professional in that regard. But I don't mind clapping back a little bit here and there.
There was one I remember. Somebody was out due to injury, but on like the lineup sheet, it was listed as healthy scratch, and they were like, how come this person's listed as healthy scratch, but you guys say injury? And the reply was, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, in the end, the player's not playing tonight. That's all I have to say. He's not playing. Yeah. So it doesn't matter if he's injured, whatever. I don't. Anyway, that was maybe my frustration a little bit.
I love it. I love it, man. It just shows that it's not just a bot replying to this. You know what I mean? I love seeing emotion in it. So you've been with the team for 10 years, a full decade. Now, in that time, you must have some killer memories. Do you have a favorite?
A favorite memory? I guess it's got to be for me hosting the Memorial Cup here in 2019. It was a product of a lot of hard work by the players, the staff, our business staff. It was almost like running two junior hockey teams all season long, because we had the Memorial Cup host committee that many of us were part of to try and putting all of these plans together, while at this simultaneously still trying to run the Mooseheads day to day like a regular team. So it was a lot of work, and we were very tired at the end of it, but it was awesome. The atmosphere in the building was so good when we, got up 2-0 in that final. Still hurts a bit that didn't win that one, but just it was so fun to be a part of and see how into it the fans were, how great all the events went over with the Street Fest and then the Fan Fest at Convention Center. Bruce Rainey did an amazing job hosting those hot stoves as well with former players. It was everything went according to plan, aside from the weather. And I know that it kind of set the tone for future Memorial Cups. The CHL was overwhelmed and impressed with how it was done. And they said that's the mold that we want from here on out. So that was a compliment to all the hard work from so many people involved with that. And that was a really cool thing to be a part of. And that team too. There was so many players on that team that just made them so special.
It's funny because we've heard people say that who aren't with the organization or who were with the organization and aren't anymore, that they challenge anybody to do a better job than we did at hosting the Memorial Cup in 2019.
Yeah, the fans showed up, were incredible. The events were perfect. It was we just have a great city for it, right? Like the rinks here, all the hotels are here, the restaurants, the bars, it just really made the downtown come alive.
Yeah. It really did. I attended every game as much as my body didn't want to by the end of it because I was actually working at the convention center at the time. I would work 7 to 7, and then and then I would go to the game, and then I would do it all again the next day, and then
Yeah.
I would do it the next day, and then the days that I was off, I was still at the convention center. It's part of like the fan fest and everything that was going on. So it was a hectic quite a few days, but it was very much enjoyable, and you guys did a fantastic job.
Thanks. No, it was a lot of fun. It was very tiring. So it's nice to get a little time off after that.
So Dylan, I'm going to
So,
jump you in order here if you don't mind. I kind of want to ask him the next one. So you've stayed in touch with other players. You know, we have a friend in common who you play golf with occasionally, who used to be on the team. So that being said, without letting your personal relationship judge it, who's a favorite player that you've spoken with?
Well, currently, gotta love Braden McPhee.
I love
He's
McPhee, yeah.
he's a real dude.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
he's everything about him is real. So love that. Samuel Aslan from that 2018-19 team was outstanding, just personable. Felt like a friend kind of thing. But there's so many. Like you look at the star players were really cool to be a part of, like Nico
Yep.
and Timo and Ehlers and on and on. But it's for me, it's typically it's Braden McPhee, it's Joel Bishop, Walter Flower, guys like that, just real down to earth people, and ones that I'll cherish those memories forever.
Oh, that's amazing. I love that. That's a great answer.
Oh, thanks.
so do you have a team as part of like the media, or is everything that they see mainly you? And if you have a team, when has things like switched? Because obviously it started being you, and if there's more, when did you start that part?
Oh, well, fans might notice this year the Moose Tracks episodes are it's clearly not me. That is a pro job. Alex Mitchell and Ian Burns are their names. They have a company called Only Issue, and we collaborate certainly with the ideas for them. We're in contact about that a lot. We sit down and have meetings in our boardroom here and go over what angles we can tackle and what to do. Like sent them on the road recently for this upcoming episode that I'm really looking forward to seeing. So they do a bang up job. Like I'm overly impressed with what they're able to do, and it just sets us apart from the rest of the teams in the league in terms of that sort of content. That's NHL caliber what they accomplish, and so they are a huge part of it, especially this year. They've also done the videos that you see at the start of the game and the pregame with the Mike Savage one, and this team knows history, those ones like that. That was the Only Issue guys. Ben Bennett runs a company called the Northern Creative. Does a lot of our animation work as well in game, a lot of in game stuff, and then some content that we have. You'll see the hit the ice Q&As. We also have part of the promo staff that she really wanted to be part of making content, and that's been a huge help to us because I'm not always available to do those sorts of things, and that's been a nice little boost to have assistance there. Alex Lonsleeve is our new marketing manager, and she's come up with a lot of ideas and really helps to coordinate things like that as well. She also takes a lot of pictures and video during our games, like for our Instagram stories in particular, and that's been it's been a huge bonus to have those extra hands because, like you said, it up to this point really was me and an iPhone, and and I showed it to Ben Mendelsohn, who works for Scotiabank Center as well. He's been with me since day one. He shoots camera and does a lot of editing for videos such as the Ask a Moose and things like that. He works hand in hand with us. Scotiabank Center provides us with his services. He shoots Moose Minute and is very good at his job too. So overall that would be the bulk of who handles the things that you see both online and in game.
So this is what I find interesting about these interviews is I would have never thought in a million years that somebody from the Scotiabank Center had a hand at all in any of the content created. This is why we do the show, so people can know what goes on behind the scene. I love it.
Yeah, well, it's great. Ben and his boss Danny Bursey runs the we call them Silver Vision over there, and they work hand in hand with Ryan McDonald with our game day as well. James Tilley's part of that crew. They really give us a big assist on how we present things to fans as well. So they're a big part of it.
It's incredible how many hands make the clock move, man. It's crazy. It's incredible.
Yeah.
It really is.
So tell us about a typical game day for you, both home and away.
Okay. Yeah, game day. Well, we're 9 to 5 in the office Monday to Friday. But come certain game days like Saturday, I will be in here at 9 a.m. and I don't leave until about 11:30 at night. So they're long days. But there's just a lot of little things that need to get done throughout the day. I even stock the press box fridge with water and subs. There's a kind of remedial tasks that need to get done that everybody has to do. So, printing lineups for the scouts and media. I go and run over and see Gareth pregame and record a 15 to 20 minute pregame show for the radio with him. And then before running back down and doing the interview on the bench, but there's a lot to get done throughout the day. So, and I have my kind of set in my ways with my schedule. So I like to give myself enough breathing room and time in case something goes off the rails and they have time to kind of handle that situation as well. But there's graphics that need to get out throughout the day. So here to do that, Cedric, our graphic designer, comes in and is a big help with that as well. He typically gives me sort of like templates, and then I fill them in with our lineups, and same with the head-to-head matchups and things like that. Game day at home, well, it's a lot easier.
Really?
I can run the family around because my kids are you're a busy family like anyone else, so I can do a lot from my phone. But come about a half an hour before game time, then I'm settled onto my couch and computer open, phone open, the CHL TV app on my television ready to go, and then close my computer again probably around 11:30 at night after a 7 o'clock game.
So to be clear, that was the away game that you had more time.
Yeah,
okay,
absolutely.
Sorry. I thought you said home.
Absolutely.
I thought you said home game's a little different.
Sorry.
I think he meant the games
At
like
home.
when he's at home.
Oh, okay. I got you. I just
I
want
call
to
them
clarify.
my couch games.
And you very much, I'm sure you get those busy moments there, like the last game. Like you're not in the building, so you can't get the information, but you see Furlong go off, and you're probably scrambling, trying to be like, is he coming back? Am I putting it out he's coming back, or is he not? Type of thing. So you probably have those moments every once in a while.
Yeah. Cam Russell's a big help with that. That's another, someone constantly texting with as well throughout a game. And he'll give me the heads up, like, hey, so-and-so has left. We're going to hold off until we get further word from Mel Landry. She'll text him, let him know, where the injury stands, what we're calling it, and what we're able to go with, and then I'll relay that information to Gareth, and then probably tweet it after that.
That's an interesting point because number one, first and foremost, you have to protect the boys, and you have to protect the team. The fans don't need to know everything. The moment it happens, all you need to know is if the guy is okay, and if he'll ever return. Keep in mind, like, for the people that are watching this, keep in mind that not everybody knows your medical history and everything that you're going through medically. So we don't need to know everything right away. Just ensure that he's okay. That's it.
Yeah. And also keep in mind if we're getting close to playoff time here too, and that's where we typically like to keep those injuries and lengths of time a little closer to the chest. It's not because we just want to keep the fans blocked out from information. It's the other teams, not the fans that we're worried about. So that information might be a little fewer and far between from here on out.
you don't want the other team to know, oh, this person is playing with like a sprained ankle on defense, so let's constantly attack that side type of thing. So
Exactly.
So, is there any advice that you would give to people that want to start out, or like us that are just starting out, when it comes to breaking through like the independent media, or want to get involved, not necessarily like with the Moose, but like with anything with their teams in their own area or anything like that?
Yeah, if you're not into becoming, you know, getting into the media business itself, you want to do this on the side kind of thing. Exactly what you guys are doing. Like you're making a name for yourself first of all. You're showing that you're reputable. You show
Thanks,
up,
man.
show the passion. You know, kind of. Um, it's a fine line too, like in terms of fan media at times, right? So you want to just continue to act as professionally as you possibly can and follow the guidelines that anybody else would have to follow and you'll get to where you want to go. It just some things, you know, doesn't happen overnight all the time, just like for anyone. So you guys are doing you're setting the mold for what everyone else should follow.
Thank
Awesome.
you very much.
Appreciate that, man. I really do. And I think I've said to you in an email before that I'm probably the most overzealous person when it comes to something I'm passionate about. And it's really is something it's something you have to realize that stuff just doesn't happen overnight, right? I know the Moncton the Herd or the Wildcast guys. They've been at it for 7 years, and only this year they've been given permission to be a part of the team and get in there and get those interviews. So everything takes time, and I understand that now.
Yeah. That being said, sorry, like this is, you know, part of the direction that things are going. You see the latest saltwire news. You see cutbacks television. Traditional media is unfortunately falling by the wayside, and I hate to say that because I was a part of it. But it's constantly evolving, and independent media is becoming a greater and greater source.
Yeah, and I think that's a lot to do with the attention span to the average person nowadays. Everybody wants instant gratifications. That's why TikTok's so big and Shorts are so big, because it's everything you want to know in a minute. And it's just the way, you know, the evolution of the media is going. Right.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, everybody's busy, and you need things quick, and you need the the things to be quick as well, so they can move on to the next thing.
So let's back up a little bit. You were talking about 2019 and the Memorial Cup. The following year was a very different feel. Walk us through how COVID may have affected your job.
Yeah, it sucked. No, it was honestly after going from those crowds and then, you know, suddenly shutting down late in the season was just you know, something new for everyone, team, like the world. It was a strange feeling. And then the following season after that was, you know, even worse when you start up and there's, you know, 1,500 or 2,000 or whatever it was people in the building. It was kind of a depressing feeling, and it's the uncertainty of what is ahead as well. So it was. We tried to, you know, during that lockdown period, we tried to keep fans engaged with some different things, fun topics, more so to get your mind off the everyday world, because we want to have a little fun with our fans and make sure they knew that we were still there and still trying to stay in touch with them. So it was challenging. We would have our daily Zoom meetings from home amongst the business staff and just discuss what the next steps would be. But once hockey started being played again, at least that was somewhat gratifying, and we worked our way there. But in terms of the team, it may have worked out, you know, benefited the Mooseheads more than anybody else because it was going to be a downtime in terms of the competitiveness. Moncton Wildcats really they get messed over because they had a great team. A lot of our former players were there. They were going to make a run. The playoffs were canceled. They didn't get to do that. Again, worked out in that trade for us with Leroux and Denoyer and some draft picks coming here. And by the time fans were able to start coming back to the building, we were getting good again. So it benefited the Mooseheads in that way. But no, it was tough. You're worried about job security. You're worried about all of those things, as everyone was. So it was. It's nice that that's in the past, and we're back to where we are now.
Yes, sir.
You guys did a really amazing job, because during that time, I've been a season ticket holder since 2011, but during that time, I was not able to attend the games due to the restrictions, and they were only selling group tickets. You needed a minimum amount of people, and I generally go to the games by myself. But you guys did an amazing job, whether it was game day or throughout the weeks or everything like that, to still be engaged as much as possible. And it was really refreshing to, like you said, be able to escape the outside world for a minute, to be able to, okay, oh, Mooseheads put up a video, let's take a look at this, or there's a game day, let's take a look at this. So it was actually really refreshing to see during that time.
Yeah, thanks. That was the goal, and yeah, those coming up with the ticket groups and things like that was such a challenge, and everybody was doing what they thought was best and trying to benefit the majority of the fans, and it was difficult choices for sure, and interesting times. There was at one point, when we're back, I was one of my tasks was to sit down at ice level as scouts, NHL scouts and media members would come in. I had to take temperatures and then sign people in, and never thought that my job would come to that at that point, and was happy that when that was over with.
That's crazy, because you would have figured that would have been somebody from the Scotiabank Center that would handle that, but they actually done it. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's we're a tenant, so it's up to the team to provide, and so that made most sense. I'm the one dealing with those folks up in the press box anyway, so I just had a thermometer in my hand.
All right, you got one? Yeah.
I have one, because you just touched on it. You don't have to answer it because we didn't go over it, but you mentioned the NHL scouts. Typically, how does that work? Do they call you up and say, we want to attend the game type of thing, or how's that?
It's we do have a sign up. They don't really use it anymore as much as they did coming out of COVID, where it was a registration, so I knew beforehand who was going to be there. Now I can get kind of get an inkling on how many will be here. A lot of them are based in Atlantic Canada, of course, and it's pretty interesting to see how many Atlantic Canadians are high up in the NHL scouting ranks in terms of look at Daryl Plandowski. His son Oscar, of course, plays in our league. He's really high up in terms of player development and I think he's director of amateur scouting with the Arizona Coyotes. So we've got Steph LeBlanc from Moncton comes to a lot of our games. He's director of amateur scouting for the San Jose Sharks. They are when you watch the NHL draft, you can think, oh, I know that guy. He comes to our games all the time. And there's some of them will reach out, not always, but I typically know approximately how many are gonna be there at a game, especially given the opposition. Look at a team like Chicoutimi right now. There's going to be a lot of NHL scouts because they're young players that are becoming draft eligible in the NHL, and you can kind of tell what day that the NHL scouts will really show up in big numbers.
Is it like media though? They have to give you 24 hours notice, or?
Exactly. Yeah, for media, and honestly, we haven't until the playoffs. We don't typically get a ton of media in the press box. It's mostly scouts up there. But come playoff time, that's when it starts to get a little busy. So there is a registration form for the media to fill out, and it has to be 24 hours in advance at least, and then I can vet that to make sure that they're qualified to be up there, because you'll always get people that I just want to come to a game for free and don't do any work at all, and so have had those incidents. So typically,
really?
People are pretty good about it.
Wow, I can't believe somebody would actually just lie about being media to get it. Like, that's crazy to me.
Well, they might be media, but they might not be doing any work. Let's put it that
way. Okay. So we've kept you long enough. I only have a couple quick questions for you. First of all, how during the off season, How can we keep fans engaged, both through you, like and the Mooseheads, or even myself? How do you plan on keeping the fans engaged during the off season?
Yeah, it's tough because once the season's over, the players disperse, right? So we're basically dependent on our own content. But nobody wants to see my face. They want to see players, right? So, we're hoping to continue our moose tracks throughout the year. Now we can help. We're tossing the idea around of a local player who's still here, off-season training. What's
Oh,
going on there?
I love that.
Yeah, so things like that. And we'll continue to do as much as we can. I I will be camping for a couple of weeks, so forgive me if I'm a little quiet at some times.
Enjoy
But
it.
Yeah,
Enjoy it.
like, absolutely. You deserve it, man. Yeah, we know how exactly
July,
how busy you are.
July is our time to kind of relish because it ends. We go to the draft in June, which is always a fun thing that I get to go to. I look forward to that. And then July is a lot of planning, really, for the next season when we're in the office. And then it's August, and it's summer's
Ready to
over.
go.
Yep.
The draft is always interesting because you're there and you're talking to the players, you're getting their initial reactions of being drafted to the Mooseheads. So it's always good to see like the initial reaction. It's very much the way that they do it in the NHL draft, where they do it on a panel with
Yeah.
every draft pick, and you do it with the ones just for the team. So it's always entertaining because that's a lot of the time. That's when the fans see these players for the first time.
Yeah,
That's the first time they hear their name, the first time they see their voice or hear their voice, the first time they see their face and everything. It's the first time, and you have a massive part in that.
yeah. Well, first time I hear their name too. For sometimes I'm quickly doing an elite prospects check to say, who is this guy and what can I ask him? But no, that is one of my favorite events to be part of with the team and the league because really it's the only time all season that all of the teams are together,
Yeah.
so you can kind of talk to fellow communications managers you see or the team presidents. It's the only spot where we're all in the same building at the same time, and they have cut back since the pandemic. We would typically go up on like a Tuesday or Wednesday and have some seminars where it's media training, different things like that. So it's been condensed a little bit since the pandemic, but the Q really does an amazing job with the draft. It's second only to the NHL in terms of the presentation. The OHL and the WHL players don't get that sort of treatment and that sort of moment to have a draft like that. So it's a really cool thing to be part of and be at.
You're gonna have a little bit of healthy competition out there this year. We're applying for accreditation ourselves to
Hey.
get out and talk to our boys before they get on the team. Yeah.
No, that'll be good. That's awesome, and it's great that it's in Moncton
Yes.
because it's a lot shorter drive home.
And what's next for you?
Well, we're gearing up for the playoffs now. So right now, it's been nice to have this little bit of downtime by finishing on the road, and we have our every Tuesday morning we have a staff meeting here and go over a lot of things that need to be done, like our in-game entertainment, our content, our ticketing, all of those aspects. So right now we're really trying to get the word out about general public tickets being on sale this Friday morning and really push that. And hopefully we can get some good crowds out for game 1 and 2. And from here, I guess the rest of the day I'll be starting to put some work into a series preview article as well, and
That'd be good to see.
Really gearing up for the playoffs. So yeah, I mean we know Bathurst well, right? And we're all nervous. Trust me.
Yeah, I would say we're gonna sold out.
It's been an interesting series this season, but I'm very confident that the Mooseheads will flick that switch and turn into playoff hockey. We mentioned LFG, LFD earlier, and that's one guy that in particular I'm excited to watch in playoffs.
Yeah. So and everybody
just
else.
Just to confirm, tickets to the general public go on sale Friday the 22nd.
That's right, 11 a.m.
By the time this is it'll most likely already been on sale, and the games are the 29th and 30th.
That's right, and then of course, we won't know any further schedule. If if we split those first two, then we know a game 5 will be necessary, and that information will be given out at that time. But right now, yeah, games 1 and 2, gear up for a big Easter weekend in Moose Country.
Yes,
And let's
sir.
hope we pack the barn.
That's right.
One more. We end this with every single person, whether it's a player, staff, even Tyler when we had him on. Is there
His
anything
birthday yesterday.
Yes.
It was. It was. Is there anything you want to say to the fans? I know you work with the organization, but to the organization, anybody who might see this, to the Scotiabank Center, to anybody that you've worked with, this is a complete open forum to you to say whatever you want to say to anybody.
I guess, yeah, my message would always be to the fans, just to say thanks for being who you are, because you're what makes this team special. It's what every player talks about. That's why every player on every other team wants to play for the Mooseheads, because they get to come here and be in a building that's as boisterous and as exciting as it is, and it's simply because fans show up to the games, and we hope we provide you with enough enjoyment to repay you for what you do, because it's the fans that make this team, and just thank you for that.
That's awesome, man. Listen, Scott, don't hang up. I just got a quick thing I got to ask you. But everybody else, that was Scott MacIntosh, communications for the Halifax Moose. I hope you're all healthy, safe, and happy out there. And as always, go Moose, go.